Hello everyone, I'm Mandy Lockley and welcome to On Purpose Astrology, my second video of the month. The one I posted yesterday was about the nodes moving. The North Node will be moving into Pisces on the 12th of January. I'm not going to be talking about that today, but do take a look at that video because it's a really important transition. It's a really important change in energy. And I also talk about how we can take forward the lessons we learned from the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra. But today's focus is on the full moon in Cancer on the 13th of January. Let's have a look at the chart. The full moon in Cancer, I'm also going to be talking about Venus in Pisces. Venus moved into Pisces on the 3rd of January. So I'm recording this on the 9th, so we've had quite a few days already to get used to Venus in Pisces. So let's talk about Venus in Pisces first. It comes out of Pisces on the 4th of February, so around about a month. But then it does go retrograde, actually, and it will eventually, in sort of March, go back into Pisces again. So we've got a longer period of Venus in Pisces, then Aries, then back in Pisces. But for now, for the month of January, we just really focus on the direct motion of Venus in Pisces, where it will be until the February. So it's a gentle energy, it's a kind energy, it's a compassionate energy. Venus in Pisces. It overlaps with the North Node going into Pisces on the 12th of January, as I've already talked about in a video about that. So it's a time for us to get in touch with our compassionate, kind, and gentle self. Not just personally, but also collectively as well. When I do these videos, I do very much talk collectively as well as, I'm just going to go back there. Stop the sharing for a minute. I do talk collectively and personally as well. So these are messages for the collective. The collective, of course, is all of us. Venus in Pisces means we are all connected in some way by relationship. Venus is the relationship planet. We're all connected. Again, I talk about how we're all connected in the nodes video that I put out yesterday. So we're all connected. And Venus reminds us of that. But we can lose ourselves in others, particularly with Venus in Pisces. So rather, it's a gentle energy, it's an idealistic energy, it's a romantic energy. It's perhaps where we might feel we want to escape into some romantic dream, escape into romance, escape into finding the one. There isn't really the one, there is the everyone. And we form relationships through connection, through spending time with people. Which brings us to, let's have a look now at the chart for the full moon. There we go. Here's the chart for the full moon here. But when we look at the chart for the full moon, if you look in the 6th house here, you can see that this Venus in Pisces, this lovely energy, Venus is strong in Pisces, it likes being in Pisces. Brings out some of the nicest qualities, the more flowing energies, the more yielding energies, the more compassionate and empathetic energies of Pisces. You can of Venus here. If you look in the 6th house here, though, you'll see that it's very close to making a conjunction with Saturn, which kind of changes the dynamic a little bit, changes the little dynamic of things. So there's a case there really where you're putting your energies in relationship. There's a case really for a reality check, thinking about where you might need to set your boundaries so you're not taken advantage of. Pisces energy can be taken advantage of, or vice versa, it can actually be manipulative and take advantage. Water is very manipulative, isn't it? Water can get into places where you can't really stop it. It kind of flows into places unbidden, and Pisces is water in full flow. Cancer, the other water sign, and the moon is in Cancer in this full moon, is contained water. It's the shell, it's contained water. And the other water sign, Scorpio, is said to be more like frozen water. It's water that doesn't move, it has to be thawed out, whereas Piscean water just flows very easily and it can get into all sorts of places. You even realize it's flowed in. So think about where you might need to be seeing things for how they really are, where you might need to set some healthy boundaries, to remember that you are responsible for your own happiness. You are not responsible for everybody else's happiness. Where are you putting duty and responsibility for other people's happiness when you don't really need to? Understanding that they are responsible for their own happiness and for their own behavior. And obviously, you don't tolerate bad behavior from them. And you can kind of walk away and separate yourself from that if you can set the boundaries and sort of say, if someone's treating you in ways that you don't like, it's important to demonstrate how you want to be treated. And that is by setting boundaries, and it's by not trying to be over people pleasing. This nice energy can get taken advantage of. We can make the most of it. It's about the magical and mystery, music and dance and escapism. This is a time when you put the TV on this time of year and every other advert is about holidays. Are you dreaming of a holiday as a trip? Perhaps you can start a saving plan to start save up. Saturn, Venus has something to do with money. Where are you leaking money? Can you look at your, you look at your bank account? Where are subscriptions that you don't use that you've forgotten about going out? This is wise advice that all the sort of money experts on the TV at the moment are telling us to do, as well as when we have to renew things like insurance or any other financial products, look for the best rates that we can have. So those are a few sort of things to think about with this lovely energy with Venus in Pisces. Now, we have, of course, the full moon on the 13th of January, and it brings more intensity, which is why I've really gone big on this gentler energy, because it can be about where we go into our lovely space of escapism. You know, there's that wanting for freedom, I think, with this full moon. There's a sextile from the full moon to, from the moon itself, actually, to Uranus in Taurus. So there's very much that wanting freedom, wanting to let go, wanting to go out on our own, to strike out on our own, to be independent. It can also mean we feel a little bit isolated. Have we isolated ourselves? Have we sort of broken some bonds? A full moon is all about relationship. It's an opposition. It's a relationship to self and others, between self and others, and also our relationship with the world. Where have we taken ourselves out of the world and we've left feeling isolated? Where might we feeling a little bit lonely? It's an intense emotional full moon. Things seem to come to a head anyway at a full moon. It's the peak. It's the peak of the monthly lunar cycle when things come to a head. It's the full light of the moon, the sun, our purpose, our mission, what we're trying to achieve, our energy, our vigor has full reflection onto the moon. So we can see how we really feel about ourselves and the world and other people. And we might be feeling incredibly emotional. Mood swings. It's a moody full moon. Cancer can be moody, can be crabby. It's a moody full moon, particularly seen as that full moon. The moon there is conjunct Mars, because we're still having the Mars Pluto opposition there in the sky. It's separating. We're going to have the last full exact opposition in April, but for now it is separating as Mars has moved back into the sign of Cancer again, which is less go-getting than Aries, less prideful than Aries, but it's a more defensive move. So we might feel like we want to defensively retreat into our shell, whereas Mars Pluto oppositions, Mars Pluto aspects are all about where we might need to assert ourselves, take some of our power back, but we might be feeling powerless there. We might be feeling held back. We might not feel able to move. Remember, the sun is in Capricorn in this full moon, of course. So the areas of life, the axis of Cancer and Capricorn is all about family versus career. It's all about our inner emotional life, the moon in Cancer, and also our public life, our career life, our status, our reputation, how we conduct ourselves in the world, on the outside, and how that is perceived. Do we wield power without responsibility? Do we fear to wield power, our own personal power? Certainly, it's an aspect, particularly with this Uranus sextile, where we want to know the truth and we might find the truth, and the truth can come out during a full moon. So, what is the truth? We might be going over old ground. As I said, that Mars is going backwards in terms of asserting ourselves and needing to reassert ourselves in certain areas. As I say, in these areas, maybe it's to do with family, maybe it's to do with our job, our career. We're thinking perhaps of making career change or making tweaks to our working life to improve things, to grow. And perhaps it's about where we might need to find more compassion, to be more caring and nurturing to ourselves and to others. Or maybe it's where we actually need to pull back from that, focus more on ourselves and our duties, our responsibilities, and what we actually need. But it's all about wanting to feel connected. What I would suggest and recommend during this full moon period, particularly because Uranus is there and of course Mars and Pluto, it is less intense, this Mars Pluto opposition, as I said. It's now in an outer sign separating opposition. But please take time. Take time. Don't make any big decisions. Uranus can make things feel, even Uranus going backwards in slow Taurus can still make us feel like everything's urgent. We've got to act straight away. Take some time to reflect and don't make a move if indeed a move needs to be made until things are clearer, until the full moon period is over. That might be a few days, it might be a few weeks. Until that period is over, things feel less intense because the intensity of this full moon means that we might be catastrophizing. Things might feel worse than what they actually are. So we need time to maybe, I we want to go out in the world, generally speaking, at a full moon. But with this one, we might have that urge, but we might also feel very defensive, which can be quite a difficult combination. So try and rest and relax as much as you can. Regulate your nervous system through breathing, through good sleep, through healthy eating, through all the good things, might that you like to do to relax. Remember Venus in Pisces. Venus in Pisces is urging us to be creative, to be imaginative, to appreciate beauty, to sing, to dance, to do something creative and artistic and aesthetically pleasing, to look after our happiness, to feel our self-esteem as something beautiful and kind and compassionate. So there's some energy that we can really fall back into here. And then later on, when we're feeling a little bit more settled, a little bit more stable, if indeed we are feeling this kind of moodiness, this unsettledness, this kind of feeling a little bit, a little bit sort of angry even, or afraid, or a combination of both of those, when we are starting to feel a little bit better. So after the full moon, I would suggest even after Venus has finished with its upcoming conjunction with Saturn, even, which is on the 19th. So after the 19th, 20th, things might feel a little bit easier for you. Because what we don't want to do in that rush of energy at the full moon is to say something or do something we can't take back. While Venus in Pisces is a very forgiving energy, it's better to come out of this full moon period feeling rested and relaxed, and really to get the perspective. What we really need to do is see the perspective. And sometimes during a full moon, it's hard to see the full perspective. We can see everything in full, but we tend to see it bigger than it actually is, particularly with Mars Pluto there, can make things feel scarier. and a little bit sort of more difficult and challenging than it actually is. So hopefully there's some useful information here. I hope that I have been able to show you some positive approaches to this full moon period. It's not been easy. It's not been easy for the world. I mean, we're having a look at the news at the moment, and my heart actually breaks for the people in Los Angeles at the moment with what's happening with the fires, with the wildfires that are out of control. And I do hope that they are under control and the fires are taken down, the fires go out as soon as possible. Further destruction. All I can do is send love to all of you listening to this and send love to the world. Be in your heart. Be in your heart and be true to yourself. Be unique to yourself. Be yourself. Be the best version of yourself. Love and kindness and compassion. As always, I love you. And thank you so much for listening.